Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Offering our salutations to Bhagavan Ramana, who shines as the self in all beings. We begin today's Saturday Satsang with the prayer and the chanting of Muktaka trayam by Kumari Revathi Sankar.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Dakshinamurti Sarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Ramanacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Vande Guru Paramparam Vande Guru Paramparam Shuklam Varadharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyaye Sarva Vighnopashantaye Angikam Bhuvanam Yasya Vachikam Sarva Vangmayam Aharyam Chandrataradi Tam Namah Satvikam Shivam Ekamaksharam Hridi Nirantaram Bhasate Swayam Likhyate Katham Hridaya Kuhara Madhye Kevalam Brahma Matram Kyaham Aham Iti Sakshat Atma Rupena Bhati Hridi Vishamanasa Swam Chinvata Majjatava Pavana Chalana Rodha Atmanishto Bhavatvam Deham Brahmaya Vajjadatmakam Aham buddhirna tasyastyato Naham tattadabhava shukti samaye Siddhatma sadbhavataha Koham bhavayutah Kuto varadhiya Drishtvatmanishtatmana Soham spurtitaya Arunachala Shivaha Purno Vibhati Swayam Soham Spurtitaya Arunachala Shivaha Purno Vibhati Swayam. Namo Ramana.
Namo Ramana. We continue the satsang with the chanting of a few verses of Upadesa Saram, and the chanting will be done by Srimati Ashwini.
Namo Ramana. Idamaham pada bhikkyamanvaham ahamilina chet pelaya sathaya vigrahedriya pranaditama nahameka sat tajjadam yasat satvabhasika chitkvavetara sattayahi chet chittayahyaham ईश जीवयोर्वेषधीभिद सत्स्वभावतो वस्तु केवलम् वेषहानत स्वात्मदर्शनम् ईशदर्शनम् स्वात्मरूपत आत्मसंस्थिति स्वात्मदर्शनम् आत्मनिर्द्वयादात्मनिष्ठता ज्ञानवर्जित अज्ञानहीन चेत् ज्ञानमस्ति किं ज्ञातुमन्तरम् किं स्वरूपम् इत्यात्मदर्शने अव्यया भव अपूर्णचित् सुखम् बन्धमुक्त्यतीतं परं सुखम् विन्दति ह जीवस्तु दैविक अहमपेतकं निजविभानकं महदिदं तपो रमणवागियम्. नमो रमण.
Namo Ramana. After the Upadesa Saram, we have a few Ramananjali song offerings. The first offering will be done by Srimati V. Radha. That will be followed by a Ramananjali song presented by Dr. Pratibha Sundaresh, and that will be also followed by Ramananjali songs presented by Savitri Krishnan and Jaisriram Krishnan and Kumari Revathi Shankar. We have the offerings of Ramananjali Sangeeta.
Namo Ramana to all. Today I will be singing a song written by Sri Suddhananda Bharati. The music is by Sri L. Krishnan. Ramana Nam Padi Tin Tindal Kunjam Tinarubi Solai Valar Tindal Kunjam Ramana Nam Padi Tin Tindal Kunjam Tinarubi Solai Valar Tindal Kunjam செந்தமிழின் இசை கொஞ்ச திருக்கள் கொஞ்ச செந்தமிழின் இசை கொஞ்ச திருக்கள் கொஞ்ச வானமுத சுவை வந்து வாழ்வே கொஞ்ச வானமுத சுவை வந்து வாழ்வே கொஞ்ச ரமண நாமம் பாடி தென்று கொஞ்ச தேனருவி சோலை வளர் தென்றல் கொஞ்ச மனமெல்லாம் சொத்தான வளமை கொஞ்ச மனமெல்லாம் சொத்தான வளமை கொஞ்ச ஞான ஒளி சித்தத்தை நயந்து கொஞ்ச ஞான ஒளி சித்தத்தை நயந்து கொஞ்ச ரமண நாம பாடி தென்று கொஞ்ச ஏனருவி சோலை வளர் தென்றல் கொஞ்ச ஞாலமில்லாம் சமயோக நலமே கொஞ்ச ஞாலமில்லாம் சமயோக நலமே கொஞ்ச ஆனந்த புதுலகில் அன்பு கொஞ்ச ஆனந்த புதுலகில் அன்பு கொஞ்ச ரமண நாம பாடி தென்று குஞ்ச தேனருவி சோலை வளர் தின்றல் குஞ்ச ரமண நாமம் பாடி தென்று குஞ்ச தேனருவி சோலை வளர் தின்றல் குஞ்ச. நமோ ரமணா.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. This is the original composition of Sri Sadhu Om and music in Tamil. Ramanaya, Ramanaya, Ramanaya. Om Ramanaya, 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 Namo. Ramanaya, 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 Namo. Hariveda Naranana Gurunada Namah Om Piriyada Uravana Perumani Namah Hariveda Naranana Gurunada Namah Piriyada Uravana Perumani Namah Ramanaya, Ramanaya, Ramanaya Namah Ramanaya, Ramanaya, Ramanaya Namah Ramanaya Namavendra Japanan Mavoniye Namadendra Mamakaram Adai Paliye Ramanaya Namavendra Japanan Mavoniye Namadendra Mamakaram Adai Paliye Ramanaya, Ramanaya, Ramanaya Namah Ramanaya, Ramanaya, Ramanaya Namah Ramanaya Nama Mantra Shiva Jnana Guru Yamadase Oliyum Karpahamana Taruve Ramanaya Nama Mantra Shiva Jnana Guruve Yamadase Oliyum Karpahamana Taruve Ramanaya, Ramanaya, Ramanaya Namah 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 Namo Ramana.
வாழ்கவே பாதம் வாழ்கவே, வாழ்கவே பாதம் வாழ்கவே, ரமணன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே, ரமணன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே, ரமணன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே, ரமணன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே. மெய்யுணர்ந்து முற்று நீத்த மெய்யன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே, உய்யும் வழியை உளவார் உணர்த்தும் உறவோன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே, மெய்யுணர்ந்து முற்று நீத்த மெய்யன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே, உய்யும் வழியை உளவார் உணர்த்தும் உறவோன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே, ரமணன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே, ரமணன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே. ரிரி சசனி சரி சசனி சரி கம ப மகம பனி ப கம ப ப மகம பனி நி பனி சனி பமரீஸ் வான்போர் கை மாறும் வேண்டாம் வள்ளல் பாதம் வாழ்கவே, தேன் போலி நிற்கும் திருவாக்குள்ள தேவன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே, வான்போர் கை மாறும் வேண்டாம் வள்ளல் பாதம் வாழ்கவே, தேன் போலி நிற்கும் திருவாக்குள்ள தேவன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே, ரமணன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே. நீ நீ சனி பனி பமரி சரி கம பம கம பனி சரி சானி பம கம பனி ப நானாரென பாரணியம் விடன்று நவிபோன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே, தானாய் விட்டால் துயர் போம் என்னும் சாந்தன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே, நானாரென பாரணியம் விடன்று நவிபோன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே, தானாய் விட்டால் துயர் போம் என்னும் சாந்தன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே, ரமணன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே. பாரி பம பனி பாப மம மரி சரி கம ப நிசரி சனி நீ சரி சனி பம ப ஆசையுடனான் அலனின் ஞானம் அழிப்போன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே, ஈசன் மேலே சுமையும் போடென்றிசைப்போன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே, ஆசையுடனான் அலனின் ஞானம் அழிப்போன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே, ஈசன் மேலே சுமையும் போடென்றிசைப்போன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே, ரமணன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே. சப மரி சரி சரி கம மகம ப நீ பனி சனி ப சரி சனி ப மகம பமரி எப்பரத்தையுமே குமிரையும் திசைப்போன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே, செப்பிய வழியில் நின்றிடு என்னும் சீரோன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே, எப்பரத்தையுமே குமிரையும் திருப்போன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே, செப்பிய வழியில் நின்றிடு என்னும் சீரோன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே, ரமணன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே. சனி பாரி சரம பமரி சமகம ப சனி ப மக பமரி ப சனி சனி சரி சரி சனி ப சனி பம பமகமரி கடவுஷயதும் எல்லாம் என்று கதி போன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே, கெடுப்பது அகமே வேறலகென்று கிழப்போன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே, கடவுஷயதும் எல்லாம் என்று கதி போன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே, கெடுப்பது அகமே வேறளவென்று கிடப்போன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே. ரமணன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே. சரி 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 கமா ஸ்ரீ சசா சாரி நிசா பனி மப மாரி சனி பமரி சசனி பரி. நான் என்றெழுமேது அது மனமென்று நவி போன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே. ஞான திருஷ்டி அதந்தயம் என்று நடிப்போன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே. நான் என்றெழுமேது அது மனமென்று நவி போன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே. ஞான திருஷ்டி அதந்தயம் என்று நடிப்போன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே. ரமணன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே. நிப நிப பாப மாப மாமரி நிதி சாப மாம ரம பப பாப சனி பமாரி சரி ச பாம பா. இறையருளின்றியாதொன்றும் சத்தியமாக சித்தியாது அதனால் நான் தான் எதுவும் சிந்தியாதிருவென்றுரை போன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே. இறையருளின்றியாதொன்றும் சத்தியமாக சித்தியாது அதனால் தான் எதுவும் சிந்தியாதிருவென்றுரை போன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே. ரமணன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே. சாச சரி சரி கமரி சரி சனி பனி சரி சரி சானி ரிச பனி சனி நிப பமமாரி ரிச நினிப நிரிச நிசா. காக்கும் ரமணன் கைவிடுவானோ கருணையம் பெரும் கடலன்றோ. பேரருளில் ஒரு குறைவில்லை என்னும் பரமன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே. காக்கும் ரமணன் கைவிடுவானோ கருணையம் பெரும் கடலன்றோ. பேரருளில் ஒரு குறைவில்லை என்னும் பரமன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே. ரமணன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே. பசரி பச சரி சாரி சரி சனி பாபா பனி நிரி சரி சனி பனி மபமானி பசானி பா. தலைவனும் மான தற்பர ரமண சத்குரு பாதம் வாழ்கவே. தாய் தந்தையான இணையில ரமண அழகன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே. தலைவனும் மான தற்பர ரமண சத்குரு பாதம் வாழ்கவே. தாய் தந்தையான இணையில ரமண அழகன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே. ரமணன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே. ரமணன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே. ஓம் நமோ பகவதே ஸ்ரீ ரமணாய.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. There is one story of Akbar and Birbal where Akbar is praised by all his ministers, saying, "You are the greatest." One says, "You are greater than the sky. You are greater than this universe. You are greater than everything under the sun." The others say, many people keep praising. One minister says, "You are greater than God." So Akbar says, "Prove your point. How can I be greater than God?" And these ministers are like, "We are caught now. Birbal, help us." Birbal, when Akbar asks Birbal, "Is this statement true, Birbal?" Birbal can't say yes, nor he can say no. Because if he says yes, then he has to prove his point. If he says no, then how can Akbar be called less than something else? So Birbal says, "Give me some time." And the next day he comes and says, "Jahapana, that statement what has been told that you are greater than God is very true. Akbar is puzzled and he says, how, Birbal? Tell me, prove this point. A person is great when he can do all things. God cannot do one thing which you can do, Jahapana. Akbar said, what is that point which I can do and God cannot do? Birbal said, God cannot throw away anybody from his kingdom, from his samrajya, but you can do, because God is everywhere. There is no place where God cannot be. If he has to throw out somebody from his kingdom, there is no place at all. But you can throw somebody out of the kingdom, Jahampana. So Akbar was very satisfied with the answer. So God is everywhere. The limitless ocean has limits, but Ramana's compassion doesn't have any limit. Kadaligu miti huda, Guru karunege mitiye illa. We may say that space has limit, but because we are limited, we are not able to see beyond that limit. So, with this limited body, with this limited mind, we are not able to see the limitless Shakti of the Guru, limitless Shakti, the power which is limitless. But that Shakti has come into our heart, showing us that you are also not apart from that. You are also included in that. Here in this song, a beautiful song written by Meenakshi Murugaya Pankajakshi, she says, you are greater than the Akasha. Let us praise that Guru who is limitless. He is beyond the skies. And that Guru has so much compassion. It is bigger than the ocean. Let us get a dip from that ocean and then enjoy that limitless power. Enjoy that limitless happiness, and let us float in that happiness. And why has this Guru come on this earth? To remove all the sorrows and disturbances and difficulties in our life. He has taken a vow to get us all to his own state. Muruganar Swami says, Kachayu Madakkena Katti. You have taken this form and taken a vow that you will give that ultimate state to all your devotees. He is our mother, he is our father, he is our everything. And like children, he takes care of us. We are all his children. And we need not worry about anything. When a child is there in the lap of the mother, what will it worry about? It is happy without any worries. A song presented to you by R.N.J. Gopal, Kannada translation, Vijay Bhaskar's music. Banigu meerida Prabhu Ramanana Kirtiya haadona. Banigu meerida Prabhu Ramanana Kirtiya haadona. Avana vishala karuneya kadalali mudugi sukhadali telona. Banigu meerida Prabhu Ramanana Kirtiya haadona. ಧಾರಿಣಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ತನ್ನಯ ಭಕ್ತರ ತಾಪವ ನೀಗಿಸಲು ಧಾರಿಣಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ತನ್ನಯ ಭಕ್ತರ ತಾಪವ ನೀಗಿಸಲು ಪ್ರಭು ದಕ್ಷಿಣಾಮೂರ್ತಿ ತನ್ಮಯರಾಗಿ ಬರಮಳೆ ಕರಗಿಸಲು ಬಾನಿಗೂ ಮೀರಿದ ಪ್ರಭುವು ರಮಣನ ಕೀರ್ತಿಯ ಹಾಡೋಣ. ತಾಯಿಯು ತಂದೆಯು ಸದ್ಗುರು ದೈವವು ಸಕಲವು ಅವನಲ್ಲವೇ. ತಾಯಿಯು ತಂದೆಯು ಸದ್ಗುರು ದೈವ ಸಕಲವು ಅವನಲ್ಲವೇ. ಎಳೆಯ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ನಮ್ಮನು ಒಲವಲಿ ಕಾಯುವ ದೀನ ರಕ್ಷಕನಲ್ಲವೇ. ಬಾನಿಗೂ ಮೀರಿದ ಪ್ರಭುವು ರಮಣನ ಕೀರ್ತಿಯ ಹಾಡೋಣ. ಅರುಣಾಚಲದ ಆನಂದ ರಾಜ್ಯವ ಆಳುವ ಅರಸನು ಅವನೇ. ಅರುಣಾಚಲದ ಆನಂದ ರಾಜ್ಯವ ಆಳುವ ಅರಸನು ಅವನೇ. ಹಿಮಗಿರಿ ರಾಜಸೂತೆ ಉಮೆಯ ಮಡಿಲಲಿ ಮೆರೆಯುವ ಷಣ್ಮುಖ ಅವನೇ. ವಾನಿಗೂ ಮೀರಿದ ಪ್ರಭುವು ರಮಣನ ಕೀರ್ತಿಯ ಹಾಡೋಣ. ಅವನ ವಿಶಾಲ ಕರುಣೆಯ ಕಡಲಲಿ ಮುಳುಗಿ ಸುಖದಲ್ಲಿ ತೇಲೋಣ. ಬಾನಿಗೂ ಮೀರಿದ ಪ್ರಭುವು ರಮಣನ ಕೀರ್ತಿಯ ಹಾಡೋಣ. ನಮೋ ರಮಣ.
Namo Ramana. We continue the satsang with a self-enquiry session led by Nandakumarji.
Namo Ramana. Before we commence the practice, we read from talk 25, which is one of the approaches to self-enquiry in answer to B.V. Narasimha Swami Garu, the author of Self-Realization. He asks Bhagavan on a former occasion, who am I? How is it to be found? Who am I? How is it to be found? Bhagavan, ask yourself the question. So the question has to be put by ourselves to ourselves. The body, the Annamaya Kosha, and its functions are not I. So that is why we are seated, that with the body and its functions, we are not to search for the source of the I, or what is the truth of the I. So we are seated. Going deeper, the mind, the Manomaya Kosha, and its functions are not I. The next step takes on to the question, where from do these thoughts arise? The thoughts are spontaneous, superficial, or analytical. They operate in the intellect. Then, who is aware of them? The existence of thoughts, their clear conceptions, and their operations become evident to the individual. The analysis leads to the conclusion that the individuality of the person is operative as the perceiver of the existence of thoughts and of their sequence. This individuality is the ego, or as people say, I. Vijnanamaya Kosha, intellect, is only the sheath of I and not the I itself. So Vijnanamaya Kosha in Bhagavan's teachings is one of the sheaths of the I, to be transcended by not following any thought, but understanding that the perceiver of the thoughts is one who is the substrate for the rising, existence, and the ending of thoughts. So that is how the Vijnanamaya Kosha is crossed. So the Annamaya Kosha, the Manomaya Kosha, the Pranamaya Kosha automatically, and the Vijnanamaya Kosha have been crossed. Inquiring further, the question arises, who is this I? Where from does it come? It was not aware in sleep. Simultaneously, with its rise, sleep changes to dream or wakefulness. So now we have isolated the I. There are only two possibilities, that this I is coming from the ignorance of deep sleep or from a consciousness beyond the waking dream and deep sleep. Who am I now in the wakeful state? I am not concerned with the dream just now. So Bhagavan, he's saying he's not concerned with the dream, but he has made us cross that by saying that don't pursue any thought, but pursue only the perceiver of thoughts. So now the only state left is self-ignorance, which is sleep, or self-knowledge, which is beyond all the three states. So by asking us not to follow the other thoughts, he has made the inquiry into dreams as not required. However, he is saying that right now, I am not concerned with the dream state, but only with the I. If the I originated from sleep, then the I was covered with ignorance. Such an ignorant I cannot be what the scriptures or wise ones affirm, and not according to the experience of Bhagavan. The Maharshi is saying that this I could not have originated from the ignorance of sleep. There are some institutions in the West now which have started studying the source of ignorance, that instead of acknowledging that all this what we have got knowledge is actually complete, they have realized that we really don't know the source of all this knowledge. So nowadays, one of the institutions there, one of the major universities, has developed a course which is into the study of ignorance, not as the normal state of ignorance, but that ignorance of all from which the knowledge which we are using is arising. But Bhagavan is saying the I is not arising from that ignorance. It cannot be. Such an ignorant I cannot be what the scriptures or the wise ones affirm. The I am beyond even sleep, beyond ignorance. I must be now and here, what I was all along in sleep and dreams also, without the qualities of such state. So right now, right here, we are not the Annamaya Kosha and all its activities in the waking state. We are not the Prana, Mano, and Vijnanamaya Koshas and its subtle body identity concerned with other thoughts. We are not that. We are not even the I that is ignorant of itself. See, that we are occupied with the gross area, that we are occupied with the other thoughts, is always underlying with the self-ignorance. That means the self-ignorance is present all the time, right through the waking state, for us to inquire into. But because of our vasanas into the gross world and into the subtle thoughts, we are unable to penetrate this ignorance or be aware of it. But Bhagavan, by asking us to do self-enquiry, is bringing it out that you are ignorant of yourself, and on the basis of that ignorance, you are either holding a subtle thought or a gross object. I must be now and here what I was all along in sleep and dreams also, without the qualities of those states. I must therefore be the unqualified substratum underlying these three states, Anandamaya Kosha, transcended. I is beyond self-ignorance or deep sleep, and therefore this I is the substrate of the physical body, the Annamaya Kosha and the waking state. The Prana, Mano, Vijnanamaya Koshas are the subtle body and the dream states, as well as the state of deep sleep or self-ignorance. And I am that self-luminous self that has transcended all the three states. That is where the self-enquiry takes us. That is when the Anandamaya Kosha is also transcended. Only when we realize here and now that we are beyond the Annamaya Kosha and the waking state, the Prana, Mano, Vijnanamaya Koshas or the subtle body and the dream states, as well as the ignorant I, the causal body and the deep sleep states, those hours which are spanning 16 hours of waking state, some few minutes of dream, and another 7.5 hours or so of deep sleep, those spans are all brought to the present moment. And the identification with the respective bodies, when it is removed, that whole periods of time and the places get transcended. Both time and place is the world. So all the worlds in those three dimensions or the three states of existence, the waking state, the dream state, and the deep sleep, have been transcended here and now by holding the pure I. That is the sadhana that has been recommended by Bhagavan to Sri B.V. Narasimha Swami here. There are 2-3 different ways in which the same self-enquiry has been explained as different from the explanation in the work Who Am I? The work Who Am I gives the simplest definition, and that is what we are going to reiterate and practice for the next 10 minutes or so. The practice is that whenever a thought arises, do not try to complete it, but let it go by inquiring for whom is this thought. The answer will always be, this thought is for me. Who am I? Takes the I back to its source. The thought that arose falls away is Bhagavan's teachings. Let's practice for the next 10 minutes or so. Atma. भगवते श्रीरामनाय नमो
Namo Ramana. In this part of the satsang, we were meditating on the verses of Arunachala Navamani Malai, composed by Bhagavan Ramana, and we were meditating on the third verse, which is set to Tilang Raga and Khanda Jati Triputatala by Srimati Sulochana Natarajan. Here Bhagavan says, Arunachalatilu Karunakara Paraman Arunaravinda Padame Arunachalatilu Karunakara Paraman Arunaravinda Padame பொருள் நாடு சுற்றுமுடு வருணாதி பற்றியுளம் அருணாடலற்றனிதமும் பொருள் நாடு சுற்றுமுடு வருணாதி பற்றியுளம் அருணாடலற்றனிதமும் தெருநாடுளத்தினினல் அருள் நாடு நிற்குமவர் இருள் நாசமுற்று புவிமேல் தெருள் நாடுளத்தினினல் அருள் நாடு நிற்குமவர் இருள் நாசமுற்ற புவிமேல் அருணாருணக்கதிரின் அருள்நாடு முற்று சுக வருணாலயத்தில் இழிவார் அருணாச்சலத்திலொரு கருணாகர பரமன் அருணாரவிந்த பதமே. Bhagavan here says, Arunachalatil Uru Karunakara Paraman. In the Arunachala. Arunachala is not different from our own heart. In Arunachala resides one who is Karunakara Paraman, the one who is the most compassionate. And his feet are like Arunaravinda Padame. His feet are so soft like the red lotus. The lotus is supposed to be very, very soft and full of nectar and sweetness. And Arunaravinda Padame. It is like the Aruna is the red color, red like lotus feet. When we had got an opportunity to meet Swamiji, who wrote the Ramana Suprabhatam and also the Alagammal Ashtottaram, and he was telling the word Aruna means the name for Mother Parvati. And Achala is the Shiva. So in Arunachala, we have the mother and the father coming together as Ardhanarishvara Tattva. So Aruna means the mother. And Ramana says, in the Arunachala resides the mother. Who is this mother? She is Chinmayi. And it is only in her lotus feet, it is only in her lap that we can truly find happiness. But where are we searching for happiness? We are searching for happiness in Porul, Nadu, Sutram. We are searching happiness in Porul, that is possessing all the objects. We are searching for happiness in Nadu, in having the possession of this land, and in Shutr, that is with family and friends, with having the worldly relationship. We are searching for happiness. But Ramana says none of these will truly give any happiness. The mother, the Ramakrishna Paramahamsa gives the example, the mother who is busy working in the kitchen, if the child is crying, what she will do? She will give a small toy to play, a porul or nadu or shutram, she will give to play for the child. And the child is amused by that toy and it starts playing with the toy. And after some time, the child gets bored with the toy and again she starts crying loudly. And the mother hears the cry and she quickly comes and gives a new toy to the child. And the new toy, again the child is amused and it continues to play with those toys. And she keeps on doing this and she's simultaneously doing all her work. But she's giving these toys to indulge the child. But then comes one point where the child, it does not want any more toys. It wants mother alone. When it only seeks the mother, when it only desires the mother, and it cries, and it does not stop crying until mother herself picks up the baby and takes the baby with her. And when everything is dropped, when we seek only for the mother, here Bhagavan says, when all the Purul, Nadu and Sutri, along with the attachment with Varunadi, that is to having connection with the caste and the creed and the color, if all these patru, the attachment is completely destroyed, and Marul Nadu, Marul Nattal Are Nidamu. That is one who turns back to this delusion. All these indulgence which the mother, toys that mother is giving, if he understands, okay, this is only an indulgence, this is only the mother is giving, is tricking me with all this illusion. So if when the seeker is ready to drop all these attachments and only seeks for clarity, only Terul Nadu Ulathil. If one searches for clarity alone, then Nal Arul Nati Nirkumavar, those the spiritually ripe seekers who stand seeking good, divine grace alone. We don't want anything else, Amma. I only want you. When we turn towards the mother with that only one focused desire, then what happens is Tarunaruna Kadirin, resembling the rays of the young, just risen sun. It is not that bright brilliance of the hot summer sun, but the cool, beautiful rays of that rising sun one will experience. And Arul Nalum Utru, receiving the rays of grace continuously, Sukha Varunalayatil Ilivar, they will drown in the ocean of bliss. When we drop all these attachments and when we completely seek only the Supreme, and when we surrender to that Supreme, then the darkness of ignorance is completely destroyed and one will see the light, that beautiful, cool light. Ramana Tirtha Swamiji always remembers these words of Sadhu Om Swami. Ati Sheetala Paramashivam is the bright sun, but very, very cool sun. So they experience that fire, the cool fire, which sounds very, very funny, but it is the experience of the Jnanis. Ramana here says it is that experience that one will have when they seek the Supreme alone, and then they will drown in that ocean of bliss. Apara Satchit Sukhavari Rashe, in that ocean where this whole world is only a small ripple, they will become one with that Apara Satchit Sukha Vari Rashihi. I remember a shloka of Bhagavad Gita, where Gita Acharya Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, it is the Charama shloka, it is told. If this shloka is remembered at the time of dropping one's body, then they will all get moksha. And what does this shloka says? I feel that shloka is actually a Sanskrit translation of this verse by Bhagavan Ramana. That shloka says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Moksha Ishyami Ma Shuchah. Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya. Drop all that you think, this is my duty. I should do this. This is what is right. This is what is wrong. All these thoughts, the patra that we are holding on to, drop it. Sarvadharman Parityaja and Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. If one seeks the Supreme, the Divine alone, the Divine who is the true clarity, who is the clearness, who is the light, if we only seek Him and surrender to Him, Mamekam Sharanam Vraja, Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo. Sarva Papebhyo is whatever you may associate yourself with. I am good, I am bad, I have done this wrong, I have done this right. So all these, the classifications that we are seeing, the God does not see. He only sees our pure self, and He will bestow moksha. Moksha ishyami mashuchah. So to tell the glory of the surrender, Bhagavan Ramana tells us the story of Janaka Maharaja and Ashtavakra. It is in the story that the Janaka Maharaja has this assembly of great scholars who all inform him that in the Shastras it is told that the self-knowledge, the liberation is very, very easy. It is so easy and you can attain it so quickly as if a person has kept one leg on the paddle of the horse and about to lift the other leg and jump and put the other leg to the other side of the paddle. Within that fraction of a second, one can attain liberation. One can attain self-knowledge. That is told in the Shastras. And Janaka Maharaja says, I want you to prove this. If you're not able to prove this, I'm going to put you all into jail, or I'm all going to put you into the ocean. So that's what he tells all the scholars, and none of the scholars are able to prove it. How can you give self-knowledge to somebody? It's absolutely not possible. One has to realize, Bhagavan Ramana says, self-knowledge is not a gift to be given. It is your own self. You are already self-realized. You are already the self. You have to only realize it. So no, none of the scholars are able to prove this point in the Shastras. So all are put into jail and all are imprisoned. And Ashtavakra comes to save all these scholars. And he says, oh Janaka Maharaja, I can prove you that this self-knowledge is very, very easy and you can get in a trice. But I can do it here. Take your horse and come, let's move towards the forest where there is nobody. I will take you there and I will bestow this self-knowledge to you. So he is taken to the forest, and in the middle of the forest where there is nobody around, Ashtavakra says, oh Janaka Maharaja, keep one leg on the one paddle of the horse. And he keeps one leg, and before he is about to lift the other leg, Ashtavakra says, oh Janaka Maharaja, offer everything to me. I am your Guru. As Guru Dakshina, offer everything that belongs to you to me. as soon as he asked this, Janaka Maharaja was a great ripe soul, who was a great disciple. He agrees and he nods his head, yes. And at that moment, he becomes his one leg up in the air like this, and he becomes still. There is no movement. Because when we give everything to the Guru, what is there left with us? Is this body ours to move? Is our mind, we have given to the Guru, then can the mind move? And there's nothing which is ours. So there's nothing to do. And he became still like a statue. And all the ministers who were following them, they reached that spot and they were all wondering, oh, Ashtavakra, what have you done to our Raja? Why is he like this? What have you done? Please bring back Janaka Maharaja back to this world. And then Ashtavakra blesses Janaka Maharaja and he comes back and he surrenders to Ashtavakra and he says, yes, I have had the experience of self-knowledge, of self-realization, of liberation. Yes, it is so easy. It is easy when we surrender, we drop all that we are holding on to. Then it is ever available. One can experience that Karunakara Paraman, that Arunaravinda Padame, we can experience, and we can experience the bliss, and we can experience the rising sun of Arunachala within, if we are able to drop all and surrender to the Supreme. But for those who are not capable of dropping everything, Bhagavan has given us this path of self-enquiry where we don't have to physically drop anything. Nothing actually belongs to us. Actually, we are none of these. The story of the Alexander the Great, it is told that when he was dead, he had told his ministers to show his hand out. The hand should be shown outside the coffin to show that although he was a great king and won the whole world, he was not taking anything with him because nothing belongs to us. When we sit down for self-enquiry, we are reminding ourselves nothing belongs to us. Neither are we all these, the caste, our nationality, identity that we are holding on to is also not really our true nature. Through turning our attentions away from all these attachments to who we really are. If we are devoid of all these attributes, who are we? If we are able to drop this and turn within to our own true nature, then we will experience our own true self, which is Arunachala. To show us this path, Ramana has come into our lives. We offer our salutations to that Ramana and we continue the satsang with a sharing by Dr. Sarada. She has been meditating on the verses of Ramana Ashtottaram written by Vishwanatha Swami.
Namo Ramana. Prostrations to Ramana, shining as the self in all beings. By the abounding grace of Ramana, we in this part of the satsang are meditating on the Ramana Ashtottara Shatanamavali, which is a litany of 108 names on Ramana. What to say of the power of the Ramananama? The Ramananama itself includes the entire universe. Sri Nandakumarji has often shared with us that in the session of self-enquiry, in any of his sessions of self-enquiry, if he felt the lag in the power to continue with that inquiry, then the Ramananama would come and support his inquiry. And when he discussed this with Kanakamma, she told him the Ramananama is all enveloping. It is a name for the self. Ramana means the self.
So, when we have this very, very sweet name, what is the need for another 108 names and 1,000 names as given by Jagadishwara Shastri in Ramana Satsang? Why do we want to chant all these names? Why do we want to know about this? But it is the same self that has inspired Vishwanatha Swami to write this litany of 108 names. It is the same self which has inspired Jagadishwara Shastri to write the litany of 1,000 names. And it is the same self which inspires Muruganath Swami to sing Ayiram Namattan, Ayiram Vedattan. He is the one who has 1,000 names because all names are his. The point of this 108 name litany is basically for offering worship. The Ashtottara and the Sahasranama are offered in worship. But at the same time, we know the litanies on Mahavishnu, on Lalita Tripura Sundari, the Vishnu Sahasranama, the Lalita Sahasranama, these are all very famous because the name, along with the powers of the syllables which we chant, which are mystical and which are all embedded in these litanies, will give us the Shakti or the capacity to go inwards, to overcome our tendencies. And when we meditate on this particular litany of 108 names composed by Vishwanatha Swami, we have the added advantage of meditating on the life of Bhagavan Ramana. Because Bhagavan himself has recommended this litany as an authentic biography of his. So we have this advantage. And just like when Bhagavan has written the Aksharamanamalai, we find that the Pallavi is a Mahamantra, but there are bound to be unknown, infinite good effects by chanting that those 108 verses. Similarly, in this litany also. And recently, when we had the commencement of the Koti Archana for the celebration of Sri A.R. Natarajan's birth centenary, Sri Kameshwar, in his talk, he said that he had this connect with Ramana Ashtottara, and he wondered why the Sahasranama puja. And then he said the Sahasranama has its own power, its own beauty. He understood after chanting it. So we have this litany of 108 names. And just simply chanting it, with or without knowing its meaning, is good enough. Like simply saying the name Ramana. What do we need to know about what its import is? We don't need to know. At the same time, when we meditate on the meaning of these names of Ramana, we understand that this is an opportunity for us to inculcate that particular quality or to turn to that particular power. Say if we had that Dakshinasya Nibhaya Namaha, Dakshina Abhimukhaya Namaha, where he is hailed as Dakshinamurti. So if we are seeking the silence of the self, then meditating on this name, Dakshinamurti, who is the Mauna Guru, will help us to invoke that silent power, to invoke that power of Dakshinamurti Ramana, and to experience that presence in that form. That is why we are meditating by Bhagavan's grace on this litany of names. So we had finished Dakshinabhimukhaya Namaha, Swaraje Namaha, Dakshina Maharshaye Namaha, Bhagavate Namaha. One who is Bhagavan, one who is the Supreme One. As I mentioned, A.R. Natarajan's centenary, birth centenary is being celebrated this year. And he wanted to present to the devotees and the people at large the boon-giving power of Ramana. Because Ramana as the self, we know. Ramana as Maharshi, many have turned to him, come to him. Seekers of truth have posed questions to him from across the world. And of course, many Vedic scholars and the Muni himself, who lived the essence of the Vedas, surrendered to Bhagavan and got from him the essence of the meaning of tapas and guided all his disciples to get from Bhagavan answers to all their doubts in the spiritual path. Maharshi, Bhagavan, care of us with that assurance. And Sadhu Om Swami says, Tanda udale kudaidamo daham pasir gunavugalo yenda vidamum unai kaaka Ireivan Ramanan Kadanandro. There is Ireivan Ramanan. And that Bhagavan Ramana, what is his duty? Says Sadhu Om Swami, his duty is to take care of you. His duty is to take care of the devotee. In what way? By giving a shelter for this body, by giving food and clothing, by satiating one's thirst. And further, Yandavidamam Unaikaka. In every way, in every manner in which we should be protected. Bhagavan himself says, in the days when his body was racked by sarcoma, and devotees were praying to him to take care of the body, and he was saying, what is there? What is there in this body? And that has also been beautifully portrayed by Dr. Rajkumar Bharti in his poem. At that time, he says, what Bhagavan's words, he says, Deha bandha karana vidu uliyuva tanaka akkarayim kayude Ishvara niti. Deha bandha karana vidu mugiyuva tanaka akkarayim kayude Ishvara niti. So, Bhagavan, he who has molded this clay, he who has created this universe and given us this particular place, space in this universe, is well aware of how to take care of this, the needs of this form which he has created. When we look at him as Bhagavan, we see him as the one who has created and sustains the entire universe in which we are included. So we see him as our creator, we see him as our sustainer, and we see him as one who has the complete freedom to destroy or end this particular journey when he deems it fit as well. So he is Bhagavan. He is the omnipotent one. And as Bhagavan, he is also the omnipresent one, because Bhagavan himself has told us that who is God? Ashtamurti Bhrit Deva. Deva is one who has assumed the eightfold forms. So He is everything as Bhagavan. He is everything that we see, everything that we perceive, everything that we experience. So he is omnipotent and he is omnipresent. He is present within every being. And Nandakumarji was explaining to us in the last class of Viveka Chudamani that as the one who is within all beings is Virat, and as the one within whom all beings are, he is Hiranyagarbha. So he is the all-pervading one. The Arunachala Ramana who resides in the heart caves of each being, heart cave of each being, or the heart cave of the Jiva. That Arunachala Ramana is also the all-enveloping, the truth, the self. Bhagavan says when he has the experience of the Mahashakti Nipata, as Vishwata Swami has described it in the Ashtottara, in the earlier Nama, the experience of the self-knowledge, the awakening, he says that he knew the I. This body is dead. It will be taken and cremated and burnt and reduced to ashes. But though the body is dead, I feel the full force of the I, says Bhagavan, the full force of the I. And that is not subject to death. It is all-pervading, transcending and including the body, says Bhagavan. Transcending and including the body. That is the Bhagavan, the Bhagavat Swarupa. And to that, how do we turn to that power? In surrender. In surrender. When we see him as Bhagavan, the path that opens out to us when the Nama Bhagavan comes before us. Bhagavan, he is Bhagavan. Om Bhagavate Namaha. He is Bhagavan. He is the all-knowing. And he is the all-compassionate one, Bhagavan, that supreme power. The all-encompassing power alone can be fully compassionate as well. If there is a limited power, that power seeks to establish its presence for any one of us. In fact, there is a Nobel laureate, a writer called Golding, and he has written not his the novel which won him that Nobel laureate, but another novel. He talks about, he has created a fiction in which he has established that from the youngest child onwards, there is a need to exert power. He shows that through his very compelling story. It's called The Lord of the Flies. It's about a group of children who are marooned in an island, all children. But how each child seeks to establish power over others is revealed, the natural tendency of the limited being to want to establish its power. But that which is all-encompassing has no such need to establish anything. It is the supreme power. Hence, and also because there is no division in it, it is the fullness of love. That is Bhagavan. That is Bhagavan. Instances are numerous in Bhagavan's life, where we see that he has taken care of every little need of the devotee. That love, that compassion, instances are numerous. And there is one small incident which we portray in our, we have portrayed in our dance drama. It appears somewhere hidden inside the talks itself, I think, of a shepherdess, a young shepherdess who came to Skandashrama, and her little goat kid, the young goat, fell into a ravine next to Skandashrama. Those of us who have visited Skandashrama know about that very steep rock face right next to Skandashrama, and in that steep face, that rock face, the stream that flows. This little goat kid had fallen somewhere there. And it is impossible to climb down there and to rescue the goat kid. That's what it was humanly impossible. But seeing the agony of that child, that young shepherdess, and seeing the agony of probably that goat kid, Bhagavan, it is said that he jumped into that ravine in a trice and he had brought the goat kid out. And that little girl in our dance drama says, Lokadalli yarigu agalla andare Bhagavanarige agalla antilla. Bhagavanaru he lokadavare allavalla. He is not bound by this world. Bhagavan is beyond. And this even small children can experience and sense. And it is said of one of Osborne's children, I do not remember whether it was Kitty or his other children, another daughter was there, whose name I don't remember right now, or it could have been Adam also. And that child was asked, who is your most favorite person here? And that child answered, giving some person as a most favorite person. Who is your most favorite person in the world? The child was asked. And the child answered, giving some name. And the child was asked again, is it not Bhagavan who is your most favorite person in the world? And the child answered, Bhagavan is not in the world. Bhagavan is not in the world. A spontaneous answer from a child. The world is in Bhagavan. That is Bhagavate Namaha. He is everything and he can take care of everything. Again, Sadhu Om Swami says, one who is carrying the sun, Ravi, Chandra, Tare, Galu, Iri, Siruva, Bhujake, he is carrying the entire universe on his shoulders. Because Bhagavan himself says to Ganapati Muni, Nayana, if all the planets are moving around my waist, who am I? Who am I? So that is Bhagavan, Bhagavate Namaha. If in our lives we meditate on this as our Adhara Nama, that he is Bhagavan and he is in charge of our lives, then what is there for us to feel anxious about or worry about? Be it our day-to-day lives and the physical concerns, be it our emotional needs, or be it the capacity to take us to his own true being in self-enquiry. Bhagavate Namo. Bhagavate Sri Ramananjali.
Ramana, we conclude today's satsang with the chanting of a few verses of Aksharamanamalai by Srimati Radha, that will be followed by Ashtottara puja, which will be performed here at the Ramana Maharshi Heritage Campus Meditation Hall, and the chanting of the Ashtottara will be done by Vaibhavji and Prarthana, and the Arati song will be sung by Dr. Pratibha Sundaresh. Now we have the Aksharamanamalai and Ashtottara puja to go.
Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala. Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala. கோபமில் குணத்தோய் குறியாயனை கொள்ள குறையன் செய்தேன் அருணாச்சலா. கௌதமர் போற்றும் கருணை மமலையே கடைக்கணி தாழ்வாய் அருணாச்சலா. சகலமும் விழுங்கும் கதிரொளியின மன ஜலஜமல தீடருணாச்சலா. சாப்பாடுன்னை சாந்துணவாயான் சாந்தமாய் போவன் அருணாச்சலா. சித்தம் குளிர கதிரஸ்தம் வைத்த முதவை திர அருண்மதி அருணாச்சலா. சீரையழித்த நிர்வாணம செய்தருள் சீரையழித்தருள் அருணாச்சலா. சுகக்கடல் பொங்க சொல்லுணர்வடங்க சும்மா பொருந்திடங்க அருணாச்சலா. சோது செய்தென்னை சோதியதினி உன் ஜோதி ஒரு காட்டருணாச்சலா. செப்படி வித்தை கற்றிப்படி மயக்கு விட்டுருபடு வித்தை காட்டருணாச்சலா. சேராயனின்மை நீராயுருகி கண்ணீராற்றழிவேன் அருணாச்சலா. செய்யன தள்ளீர் செய்வினை சுடுமலர் உய்வகையே துரை அருணாச்சலா. சொல்லாது சொல்லினி சொல்லரனில் என்று சும்மாயிருந்தாய் அருணாச்சலா. அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சல சிவ 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 அருணாச்சலா. அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சலா. அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சலா. அருணாச்சலம் வாழி அன்பர்களும் வாழி. அக்ஷரமணமாலை வாழி. நமோ ரமண.
नमो रमण. भारद्वाज विश्वनाथ विरचितं श्री रमणाष्टोत्तर शतनामावलिः अपार सच्चित् सुखवारिराशे यस्योर्मिमात्रं भुवनं समस्तं गुहाहितं तं रमणं गभीरं चिन्ताविहीनं हृदचिन्तयामि. ॐ महासेन महोंसेन जाताय नमः. ॐ श्रीरमणाय नमः. ॐ गुरवे नमः. ॐ अखण्ड संविदाकाराय नमः. ॐ महौजसे नमः. ॐ कारणोद्भवाय नमः. ॐ जगद्धितावताराय नमः. ॐ श्रीभूमिनाथस्थलोस्थिताय नमः. ॐ पराशरकुलोत्तंसाय नमः. ॐ सुन्दराय तपःफलाय नमः. ॐ कमनीय सुचारित्राय नमः. ॐ सहायाम्बा सहायवते नमः. ॐ शोणाचलमहोलीनमानसाय नमः. ॐ स्वर्णहस्तकाय नमः. श्रीमद्द्वादशान्तमहास्थले लब्धविद्योदयाय नमः. ॐ महाशक्तिनिपातेन प्रबुद्धाय नमः. ॐ परमार्थविदे नमः. ॐ तीव्राय नमः. ॐ पितृपदान्वेषिणे नमः. ॐ इन्दुमौलिना पितृमते नमः. ॐ पितुरादेशतः शोणशैलं प्राप्ताय नमः. ॐ तपोमयाय नमः. ॐ उदासीनाय नमः. ॐ योगिने नमः. ॐ साहाय नमः ॐ कुशाग्रदिये नमः ॐ शान्तसङ्कल्पसंरम्भाय नमः ॐ सुसन्दर्शे नमः ॐ सवित्रे नमः ॐ स्थिराय नमः ॐ तपक्षपितसर्वाङ्गाय नमः ॐ पुल्लाकुजविलोचनाय नमः ॐ चन्द्रिकासितहासश्रीमण्डिताननमण्डलाय नमः ॐ च्यूतवाट्यां समासीनाय नमः ॐ चूडिताखिलविभ्रमाय नमः ॐ वेदवेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञाय नमः ॐ चिन्मुद्रिणे नमः ॐ त्रिगुणास्तिकाय नमः ॐ विरूपाक्षगुहावासाय नमः ॐ विराजचलाकृतये नमः ॐ दीप्तनयनाय नमः ॐ नमः ॐ रचिताचलताण्डवाय नमः ॐ गम्भीराय नमः ॐ परमाचार्याय नमः ॐ सुप्रसन्नाय नमः ॐ वरप्रदाय नमः ॐ दक्षिणास्यनिधाय नमः ॐ धीराय नमः ॐ दक्षिणाभिमुखाय नमः ॐ स्वराजे नमः ॐ महर्षये नमः ॐ भगवते नमः ॐ ईड्याय नमः ॐ भूमविद्याविशारदाय नमः ॐ विमलाय नमः ॐ दीर्घदर्शिने नमः ॐ भक्ताय नमः ॐ ऋजुमार्गप्रदर्शकाय नमः ॐ समदृशे नमः ॐ सत्यदृशे नमः सत्याय नमः ॐ प्रशान्ताय नमः ॐ अमितविक्रमाय नमः ॐ सुकुमाराय नमः ॐ सदानन्दाय नमः ॐ मृदुभाषिणे नमः ॐ दयार्णाय नमः ॐ श्रीशोणाचलहृद्बोधस्कन्दाश्रमनिकेतनाय नमः ॐ सद्दर्शनोपदेष्ट्रे नमः ॐ सद्भक्तवृन्दपरिवृताय नमः ॐ गणेशमुनिवृन्देन सेविताङ्गिरिसरोरुहाय नमः ॐ गीतोपदेशसारादिग्रन्थसञ्चिन्नसंशयाय नमः ॐ वर्णाश्रममतातीताय नमः ॐ रसज्ञाय नमः ॐ सौम्याय नमः ॐ आत्मवते नमः ॐ सर्वाङ्गनिमतस्थानामाराध्याय नमः ॐ सर्वसद्गुणिने नमः ॐ आत्मप्राणाय नमः ॐ महाभागाय नमः ॐ मातृमुक्तिविधायकाय नमः विनताय नमः ॐ विनुताय नमः ॐ विप्राय नमः ॐ मुनीन्द्राय नमः ॐ पावकोज्ज्वलाय नमः ॐ दर्शनादकसंहारिणे नमः वेदस्वात्मबोधकाय नमः ॐ मृच्छान्तिकरसान्निध्याय नमः ॐ स्वर्णाबन्धमोचकाय नमः ॐ मन्दस्थिरचण्डांशवे नमः ॐ संसारावतारकाय नमः ॐ शोणादृशस्तुतिद्रष्टे नमः ॐ आर्तविद्याप्रकाशकाय नमः ॐ अविच्युतनिजप्रज्ञाय नमः ॐ नैसर्गिकमहातपसे नमः ॐ कमण्डलधराय नमः ॐ शुभ्रकौपीनवसनाय नमः नमः ॐ दण्डपाणये नमः ॐ कृपापूर्णाय नमः ॐ भवरोगविषग्वराय नमः ॐ स्कन्दाय नमः ॐ देवदमाय नमः ॐ अमर्त्याय नमः ॐ सेनान्ये नमः ॐ पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः श्रीरमण भगवते नमः श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तरशतनामपूजां समर्पयामि यस्थानोररुणाचलस्य पदयोः स्मृत्याजलिं प्राप्यत दिव्यानुग्रहसुप्रवाहविवशस्तादात्म्यभावं गतः निर्दिष्टस्वगभीरनित्यतपसा लोकान् पुनासेकराट् तस्मै श्रीरमणाय ते नमः इदं लोकोत्तरज्योतिषे ॐ नमो भगवते श्रीरमणाय
नमो नमो रमण सदाशिव प्रभावर्ण नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि दर्शन सुख मंगल मुख सकल जीव हित सम्मुख ब्रह्म संगीये सदा तुष्ट सदा हृष्ट सदा शिवानंद पुष्ट परम महर्षि ब्रह्मनिष्ठ समदर्शी नमो 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 रमण सदाशिव प्रभावर्ण नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि ನಮ್ಮ ಮನಗದೊಂದು ಕಾಡು ನೀನರಿತಿ ಅದರ ಜಾಡು ಹಿತವನರಿತು ನೀಡು ತೆಮ್ಮ ಕೊರೆಯ ತಣಿಸಲೈ ಬೇಡಲೆಂದು ಬಂದ ನಾವು ನೋಡಿಯೇ ತಣಿವೆವಯ್ಯ ಮೋಡಿಗಾರನೇ ಹಿತವ ನುಡಿದು ಪೊರೆ ನಮ್ಮನು ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಸಂಗಿಯೇ नमो 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 रमण सदाशिव प्रभावर्ण नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि बोलो भगवान श्री रमण महर्षि की जय
जय
नमो रमण